Oh shit, it's December. Fuck, I need to do an anniversary episode. We're on by the old pond, under the sunlight. Welcome to this place. Alright, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to. I could have done a normal song, but I felt like being Mimi. So, as this band tends to be Mimi. Also, yes, I saw them. This is 25 years after. Does it still hold up? Depending on who you ask. If you're asking me, well, yes, kind of. Maybe not as much as their previous record. Definitely more than their follow-up. Debatably about as much as Full Circle. Even though there are some fans that would rather go to bat for Weather than that. I have this weird spot where I don't blame them, but also, let's be real. In terms of full length, that record is more interesting, even if it is a watered down version of Blackbird, sonically speaking. Though I wouldn't mind that sound redoing moments of My Own Prison if they could. I mean, eventual anniversary should be coming up in about a good 3 years. So, potentially. Unless they want to wait and do a 15th thing in the 20. I don't know. But anyways. Creed, Stephen Clay, their second sophomore effort studio album and their first legitimate major label debut, if you think about it. Given My Own Prison was actually an independent release that they wound up putting as a major label debut. Well, it was like a re-release, really. So technically this is their debut. But we mostly just call it their second record because that's really what it was. But anyways, yeah. Other than that, I have a nostalgia for this band. Some of you don't know how I got this channel started. I even talked about at least Tremonti and stuff. Creed was kind of one of my bands I grew up with getting into heavier stuff. At least those were the next steps following up, like Boy Named Goo Goo Dolls and like Matchbox 20 for me. And then eventually, kind of within a similar time frame, your Weezers, your Deftones, and some Pantera here and there as well. So, yeah. But yes, as far as Creed's concerned, yes. Plus, if I were to use this, yeah, my album cover's a little messed up and stuff, and I'm sure the CD's pretty scratched to shit too. Being their second, this album came out in '99, was 11 tracks, consisting of its original lineup of Scott Stapp on vocals, Brian Marshall on bass, Scott Phillips on drums, or Flip, I believe some people within their camp would call him. And of course, Mark Tremonti on guitar and vocals as well. More background, though I think he's proven he's got more to his pipes in recent releases. So, and this will be the second with Wind Up, though that whole thing's an issue with the rest of the band. But yes, I mean, even though, yeah, the album cover itself and some of the CGI looking things don't exactly age the best. But I still like this record. Listen to it all the time. And however, the streamed version has the remix version that most pop hit stations played of With Arms Wide Open, as opposed to what's on this album proper. So I do believe the singles that start this record off Are You Ready? And of course, What If, which was, I believe, used for the soundtrack for Scream 3, which apparently Scott arranged. Funny enough. Beautiful's interesting. I like the riff on it that Mark puts on. Initially, I didn't at first. I don't know why I couldn't handle the darker sounding riffs as much. That's changed since my tastes have gone more metal, but I'll say I is probably, I guess, I believe I enjoyed their concert too, by the way. That was a very good concert. Surprisingly, more than I was expecting. Even my buddy, shout out to little dude Kevin of the Burn Pit. We went and saw him together. He apparently been sending me memes before I even knew about the concert thing, and I was like, "Hey, want to see the meme live?" He said yes, and went from there. Always a pretty decent one. For me, Faceless Man is probably the best song personally on here, even from a lyrical standpoint. I think that kind of holds up in its own way. It's still vague in your bands that technically qualifies butt rock even. But here's the quick key: try to sound more rock than butt. I know that sounds impossible to think of when you think of Creed, but there's more rock than butt. I know what I did with that when I said butt. Anyways, if you want to make a drinking game out of how many times I say butt, have fun. Anyways, I'll Never Die is a good one involving this idea of, or at least he had a positive spin on it than what the lyrics and the riff of the guitar line suggests. But of course, for Never Die, which is Beautiful, basically is about, just is a similar thing to like say if you, though not as clever as like what Death would do with like had already done years prior with like Beware the Flesh and well, actually it might have been the same year. Either way, Beware the Flesh, the Power It Holds, kind of, essentially that's what Beautiful technically is in a nutshell. Maybe not as clever, but it is what it is. Faceless Man, I spent a day by the, like, it's a good song about reflecting of life and looking at the faceless man, like, it's essentially another man in the mirror kind of a thing, but for Creed it works, Sorry, I'm not explaining much. I'm very surface level at this point, but you should think I wouldn't be, given but, this was, as you've seen in the beginning of this video, it was kind of last minute. Anyway. Faceless Man, I spent a day by the river. It was quiet and the wind stood still. I spent some time with nature to remind me of all that's real. It's funny how silence speaks sometimes when you're alone and you remember that you feel. Again, I stand against the Faceless Man. Now I saw face on the water. It looked humble but willing to fight. I saw the will of a warrior. His yoke was easy and his burden is light. He looked, I was direct and concise to remind me to always do what's right. Again, I stand Faceless Man, because if the face inside can't see the light, I know I'll have to walk alone. If I walk alone to the other side, I know I might not make it home. Next time I see this face, I'll say I choose to live for always. So won't you come inside and never go away? This one is, like I said, it's definitely one of my favorites of theirs, especially in terms of the way it's arranged and how it builds up and crescendos. It knows how to utilize a crescendo. Of course, With Arms That Open was about the birth of the child. It's slightly hasn't aged as well given Scott's past and how he treated said child that this was about, but it seems he's better off than what he was. And of course, it lays into the other big single, Higher. I kind of did a joke thing earlier on. Which Higher is based on lucid dreaming, which I didn't really think about it until and then when she really, they basically set it out straightforward with the first lyrics of it with, when dreaming I'm guided to another world time and time again. At sunrise I fight to say it because I don't want to leave the comfort of this place. because there's a hunger I long to escape from the life I live when I'm awake. So the first verse pretty much says enough in itself. Wash away those years, I believe, unfortunately deals with the dark subject matter of dealing with domestic abuse, unfortunately. Well, which I'm not surprised they didn't, play it live. They played most of the songs on this record, actually. They didn't play anything from Full Circle at all. They only played the first 3 records. Most of them were the singles, and since this year was the anniversary and summer '99 thing, they mostly stuck to a lot of what was on this record, Human Clay. Of course, the big singles, the 4 singles that came off of this, and then the songs Never Die, Say I believe. And Faceless Man those were probably the ones that they chose to play from this, that were part of this record. Yeah, those were it. Everything else was mostly the songs that were technically singles from the record. So, oh shit, there we go. All right, but yes. And then inside us all is a nice little, try to figuring out your own inner peace and, learning to live with it. Which isn't a bad way to end the record, in my opinion. So, it's at least a nice, comforting way, especially with the way that, or at least I feel like it's a better way to end things, outro-wise, compared to one off the previous record. So, I guess in that regard, it's an improvement from that record in that regard, I guess. But yes, after this and the success of this, clearly, borderline over, I think this is one of the few albums that went basically diamond and a half here in the States. One of the last few to do so. Which sounds sad, especially even more sad when it's Nickelback's All the Right Reasons, but yeah, or at least that, I find that more sad, to be honest, but even though that's not one of their worst records anyway, so, and one of the ones that made me be like, oh, they ain't so bad, I never heard the previous 2, and I was like, oh god, so it made it hard for me to want to hear the previous 2, before that, they got big, and that was a mistake, because The State was awesome, but anyways. Well, except for Old Enough. Woof. That's some precursor. Don't want to get into that. Don't want to get into that level of nickel crack. Jesus. Anyways. Yeah. Overall, I know I'm sorry this took longer than I should have, and I wanted to be a little more in depth. But I haven't been in a while, and plus, but overall, despite even my nostalgia, there's a reason why this was as huge as it was. Even if some people want to admit it or not. For me, as you can see, I gotta do it. And I don't know whether or not I want to give it the master class certification nowadays. I don't know if I should. I probably should, but for nostalgia purposes, but that's not why I do it most of the time. So I still enjoy this record. It's still one of the few albums that are still, for better or worse, I guess, depending on who you ask, still etched in my brain. Most of those Creed records, at least those first 3, you could say, in the Taste of Weather, for worse, maybe. Even though I'd say would have made a better EP if they just stopped at Weathered and then nothing else. But other than that, I really still enjoy this record for what it is. And I had a lot of fun at that concert. They still played most of the hits. Other than that, they played pretty much the other singles that were pretty much made up most of what is, or at least three of them from Weathered, and a big chunk of, and I think all the singles that were essentially from My Own Prison. So, and then Tears Down is better than a lot of people give him credit for. Granted, I don't know if Brad Arnold had his hands in his pockets when I was going off when he started off the set while I was going off and pissing, but it sounded like they were playing pretty good when they did Train and stuff like that. So that's just me, I guess. Other than that, dude, this record still hits pretty hard. Granted, I've matured enough to say Alter Bridge as a band is better. Even Mark's own band, one more speed metal project is better. Not even by that logic, you could say his Sinatra cover stuff's pretty better. Yeah, I've been more a Tremonti guy than I'm a Scott guy. I still keep up with his solo stuff. More morbid curiosity, especially with the recent album that came out this past year, which was okay. It's not making my year-end list. Miles has a better shot. Sorry. Also, looking forward to, in a few weeks, the new Tremonti record. Respect that. If I hopefully this phone still works proper and I can still use it. But anyways, Creed Human Clay. Probably, depending on who sees this, some are going to be shitty about it. Some are going to be not so shitty about it. What did you think of Human Clay if you had a chance to listen to it? Did you like it at all? Did you, like some people every other person on the internet, just hate it for the sake of it? Hopefully not. And like there is some legitimacy to it. Your dislike, just let me know. Leave a comment below, let me know. Sorry for the longer video than I thought. But yeah, overall I enjoyed this. Eventually I'll get back to 24. I don't think I'll be doing a year-end video, but I will probably do some year-end posts on what I missed out on. That's going to make the year-end list. I'll probably just leave it at that and just move on. And life's happening with this girlfriend and stuff, so I just got to kind of hold off on doing that for a little bit. So yeah, other than that, guys, it's good to kind of see you guys again. Hopefully I'll see more of you maybe in 2025. We'll see how that goes. Saying this didn't happen, I guess. But anyway, if you liked it, let me know. Leave a comment below. Let me know. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I'll see you in the next video, whatever that may be. And I guess take care, y'all. And home now, 6 feet from the edge. I'm shitty.